Hey, what's up guys? This is Izix. This week's topic is talking about whether or not I feel that the LGBT community supports the trans community, or should I say the LGB community supports the trans community. Okay, so basically what that's asking is whether or not I feel like our LGB supports the T. Locally in Houston, I feel like it's very mixed on that topic and it's very taboo. We do have a lot of LGB support, but at the same time, we still lack a lot of LGB support. This became very apparent during the whole issue with HERO, the Human Equal Rights Ordinance they were trying to get passed here, which was basically, it came down to the restroom bill or the restroom law. Being in the South, our conservatives honed in on supposedly trans women that were going to prey on women and children, which there's no facts of this ever happening, no reports of it. This is just something that they used to get everyone to shoot it down. And HERO, the Human Equal Rights Ordinance, was supposed to be something that protected disabled and veterans and everyone, not just trans people. But because they honed in on this restroom thing, people shot it down. So when this was really big, like a year or so ago, and our news coverage, they were talking to other people, a part of the community, LGB people, and it was sad to see that gay men and lesbian women were against this, and were talking the same way the conservatives were, talking about how they didn't want a man in a dress in the restroom with their nieces or their sisters or their girlfriends, or so this was the conversation and the things that were coming out of fellow LGB community individuals. I would assume that LGB individuals know how it feels to be discriminated against, to be singled out, to be honed in on. You would assume that they would be more accepting of others that are part of the community, but that isn't always the case. But it's not all of the LGBT. So I won't say that it's all of them that are like this. It's not. There's a lot of LGBT that are very accepting of us and go out of their way to advocate for us, do everything they can to raise visibility, do everything they can to help us get equal rights and so forth. But a lot of our community that doesn't take the time to educate themselves on issues and matters that relate to trans people, no, they do discriminate against us. They don't necessarily embrace the T. And advocating myself over the past few years, which I don't do it as much as I did a couple years ago because of school and personal stuff that's just been going on. But over the past few years, I've had conversations with people who've told me that I'm the first trans person they met. And no, I don't out myself right away, but I had to keep in mind and I had to bring myself down a few notches, because there's a lot of trans people who don't like to be questioned or put their guard up real easily with some of these questions that people have. And some of these questions that they have, while it may come off harsh at times, it's not necessarily something that's harsh. It's them just it's just them trying to gain the knowledge or that perspective. They're just trying to understand where we're coming from and understand a trans person, because most of them never met a trans person in their lives. Most of them don't get the whole concept of trans, and these are just genuine questions. They may not know how to word it right. So I had to bring myself down a few notches and take that into consideration. I'm making up words. Consideration, and try my best to not get offended by the way they're wording this stuff, and try my best to let them know it was safe to ask me stuff. So I've answered questions that most other trans people aren't comfortable with answering. I don't mind doing it as long as I know that it's not coming from a negative place. And you could usually tell where someone's intention is coming from just by the tone of their voice or the way that they're carrying themselves. And I'm getting tongue-tied in this, so I apologize for that. But I don't mind answering questions when it's just for that knowledge. Like genuine knowledge, genuine curiosity, so that they can enlighten themselves. So after I've had some of these conversations, I've had them tell me I'm the only trans person they've ever met. And because they met me, I gave them this whole new outlook on what a trans person is, because the media always portrays us as something that we're not, or portrays us as the big bad wolf type of thing. So I feel like a lot of the issues in the community are just a lack of knowledge, a lack of education, and a lack of communication amongst each other. Not everyone knows a trans person. Not all of us are out, you know? Not all of us are showing everyone a T on a shirt or wearing trans colors. Not everyone knows what the trans colors are, you know? Some people have to be stealth. So I think that maybe if we want some changes, then maybe we need to do a little bit more on our ends to understand where they're coming from, and they need to be a little bit more open-minded too to understand where we're coming from. I feel like it's just a communication issue or a barrier. A lot of people are more open-minded to things once they know someone personally. Once it's personal to them and they can put a face behind what a trans person is because they know a trans person, you help mold that perspective of what they have of trans people. And I feel like that's the only way we're going to be able to make any changes in our own community. And we have to make changes in our community, because if we don't, how are we going to face the outside communities that are anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-lesbian, anti-queer? We have to all unite and have that unity to be able to want to protect each other before an outsider comes in and tells us we don't have rights. So as far as our community goes, yes, I do feel like there is that division, that lack of support, but at the same time, it's partially just a communication barrier that we're not talking about issues we need to talk about. But yeah, guys, so if you see someone out and they have questions for you, you don't always have to just ignore them or be on defense, because not all of it's coming out of a place of negativity. Sometimes it is just curiosity. So keep that in mind, guys, and I will see y'all next week.